To buy Twitter, Musk has to keep banks, investors on board. To buy Twitter, Musk has to keep banks, investors on board. To buy Twitter, Musk has to keep banks, investors on board. So let's focus on board. To keep someone on board or to be on board. I'm on board. I'm not on board. I'm on board with that. I'm not on board with that. Again, the headline, to buy Twitter, Musk has to keep banks, investors on board. And this is from AP again, from Tom Krischer and Matt O'Brien. Here we go. If the squabbling or fighting ever stops over Elon Musk's renewed bid to buy Twitter, experts say he still faces a huge obstacle to closing the $44 billion deal, keeping his financing in place. Earlier this week, Musk reversed course and said he would go through with acquiring the social media company under the same terms he agreed to in April. But after months of tweet storms and legal barbs or comments, there are scars and suspicions on both sides. Experts say that behind the scenes, banks could be scrambling to find buyers for $12.5 billion in debt from the deal, and Musk is trying to hold together a group of equity investors that is pitching in billions more. The erratic billionaire is on the hook for the rest. So again, let's go back to our headline. To buy Twitter, Musk has to keep banks, investors on board. And the story, the first few sentences was about banks, and banks are scrambling to find buyers. Musk is trying to hold together a group of equity investors. So keeping those details in mind, what could it mean to be on board or to, in this case, keep someone on board? We're back for the second segment, the headline being, to buy Twitter, Musk has to keep banks, investors on board. To buy Twitter, Elon Musk has to keep banks and investors on board. We were focusing on the expression to keep someone on board. What does that mean, to keep someone on board, or to be on board or off board? Musk has to keep banks and investors on board. To be on board, let's forget about keep someone on board. To be on board means to be in agreement, to be on the team. You are in. You're not going against the other members. You're not disagreeing. You are in agreement. You're on the team, and you're gonna fight or try and advance the objectives of the team. To keep someone on board is to keep people on the team who might want to get off board, people who might want to not be on the moving train anymore or jump off. So Musk has to keep the banks and investors on board. The story here, and we'll get to it, I guess, maybe at the end, but it's a long, messy story of, a very rich, egocentric kind of strange man, a billionaire, trying to buy a company that's public and make it go private. To do that, he had to find a lot of investment. He has a lot of money, but he doesn't he's trying to get a team of investors and banks and cash to buy Twitter. But let's go through the article, the few sentences that I read from AP, and see if there's anything else that might be difficult or confusing. I picked out squabbling. Squabbling. They mentioned squabbling between Elon Musk and Twitter. So, what does it mean when two people squabble? Fighting, disagreeing, having an argument about something, to not be on the same page, to fight. Anything else? Let's keep going down the line. To face a problem or a challenge. To face a problem or a challenge. To confrontar. To confront. To be looking at. To go at the problem or challenge. To not run away. To not retreat. Musk reversed course. The article mentions, right, the second sentence, I believe, mentions earlier this week, Musk reversed course and said he would continue with acquiring the social media company under the same terms he agreed to in April. So to reverse course is to go back in the direction that you came from, to go back. To go towards the direction you originally were going in. A tweet storm. Think of Donald Trump. I don't know how much Brazilians paid attention to Donald Trump's presidency, but now, right? He's banned from Twitter, and this was one of the things Elon Musk had proposed to change, right? To, hey, Donald Trump, welcome back to the Twitter world. You're no longer banned. Elon Musk had kind of promoted the idea that Twitter should be a public space of free speech and, basically whatever you want to say on the platform, go ahead. And no one should be permanently banned. I guess there's other details he could elaborate, but he hasn't really. A tweet storm, though. A tweet storm. Donald Trump, when he had Twitter, or when he was not banned from Twitter, when he was active, it was common for him to send out a series of tweets at one time. Twitter has a limit. I don't use Twitter, but Twitter has a limit on how many characters or words you can post. A tweet storm is when you send a lot of them at one time. Lots of separate tweets, not just a max amount of words in one tweet. Lots of tweets, usually going on about one topic or continuing a theme, or preaching, right? Preaching about something, ranting, desabafando. That's a tweet storm. Donald Trump was a legend in tweet storming. Kanye West. I know I'm choosing non-Brazilian people, but Kanye West is internationally known. Donald Trump too. Kanye West is someone who goes on tweet storms. So they send out lots of tweets in a short amount of time, usually all connected. But in the case of Donald Trump, sometimes no. Sometimes they're all over the map with content and direction and themes. But yeah, Kanye West too, who now is, as I'm reading this, right, he's now attacking Jews and the Jewish community with anti-Semitism on, I believe, on Twitter. I think he has not been banned, but he's been tweet storming and going on podcasts and yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about Kanye West. He yeah. So legal barbs. Where are legal barbs here? The next sentence after Musk reversed course and said he would continue with the purchase or acquisition, the merger of Twitter. But after months of tweet storms and legal barbs, there are scars or damage and suspicions on both sides from Twitter and Elon Musk. Barbs, not beards, right? Not barbas, barbs would be insults or harshly made points, jabs, kind of little comments that are intended to damage or hurt the audience who you're speaking to. So you can imagine, and you don't have to imagine, you can go on Twitter. Elon Musk is a tweet stormer. He has Twitter, and he sent before publicly commenting about or releasing or declaring how much Twitter stock or ações that he owned, and during and after it being publicly disclosed and properly reported, he would tweet lots of comments about. I think one of them was like, a question like, "Is Twitter dead?" Critical comments, and the lawyers for and I believe the CEO of Twitter has also tweeted comments about Elon Musk's reversing course, initially not deciding to not, or publicly saying he would not buy Twitter because of another barb from Trump, from Musk, that there's lots of bots and not genuine or real humans on Twitter, right? And the lawyers for Twitter had said, "Hey, man, we gave Elon Musk all of the data and information that he said he had to look for, and no, he didn't have to look for it. We gave him all of it." So legal barbs they're mentioning are jabs or insults or critical comments intended to do damage. To pitch in. This is towards the end, I believe, of what I read. Musk is trying to hold together a group of equity investors that is pitching in billions more. Pitching in, contributing to give some. Could be any resource. You could pitch in help, right? It could be help or assistance. In church, people pitch in money. Taxes are an example of everybody pitching in for some particular reason, even if you don't want to. Any donation could be described as pitching in. The erratic billionaire is on the hook. To be on the hook. That was the next sentence. The erratic billionaire, erratic, E-R-R-A-T-I-C. The erratic billionaire is on the hook for the rest. Meaning, think of a fish on a hook. That's caught on a hook, and you don't have any options. You don't have any other options. You're stuck. This is usually regarding money to be paid, or jivida, not duvida, jivida, money that you have to pay. You're on the hook for a debt that you have to pay. You have no other option. You are responsible to pay it. And in this case, Elon Musk might have lost some investors or contributors, people pitching in. He's trying to hold them together. It says, keep them on board, right, from the title of the headline. And whatever money he can secure or get from the investors, the total is going to be, it's already decided, right? It was like $44.5 billion. Let me look if I can see it here somewhere. I believe it was $44.5 billion. So whatever he gets from the other investors, he will have to pay the rest. He is on the hook for the rest of the deal. I believe that the deal has a deadline, or at least a scheduled date that there should be some information or progress. I think it's October 28th, 2022. You will be listening to this after that. So you in the future will know, probably, right? I guess that's just a soft deadline. I don't think that's a hard deadline. But probably you will already know how much the sale will be from the investors and contributors pitching in, and how much Elon Musk will be on the hook for. But yeah, again, maybe that will be a different date. That is all I had planned for vocab, and anything that I would predict or can predict is unfamiliar. And those short first 4 sentences from Tom Krischer, Matt O'Brien at Associated Press. Now the question segment. First one, simple enough. Do you use Twitter? Do you use Twitter? I do not. I've never had a Twitter account. Never felt the desire to join Twitter. I'm going to add another question. I have not written this down, but do you use Twitter, and what have you heard about Twitter as a social media platform? We have so many, and they all have a little different identity, and you can expect, right? You might expect different things on each different platform, right? Instagram has a different identity than Facebook, has a different identity than TikTok now, has a different identity than Twitter. I grew up using MySpace, right, in 2005, 2006. These are all slightly different. They all kind of offer interaction and content, excuse me, but they're all different. So number 1A, do you use Twitter? 1B, what have you heard about the content and nature of Twitter as a social media platform? Number 2, do you give any fucks about who owns Twitter? Especially if you use Twitter. Maybe you don't, and maybe the answer is obvious. No, but if you use Twitter, or in any case, do you give any fucks? Do you care who owns Twitter? You might care even if you don't use Twitter. Elon Musk is a user of Twitter. Donald Trump was, and he's not anymore. He's banned. I'm sure he cares who owns Twitter. Do you care about Twitter as a place of free speech? Do you care about the content that comes or is posted on Twitter? Does it have any effect on you, or what do you think? Does it have any effect on anything at all? Is it just a weird little social media place, a virtual space? But again, the question is simply, do you give any fucks who owns Twitter? Which you could say that a little bit more without the fucks, but do you care who owns Twitter? Do you give any fucks? Number 3, which narrative is more attractive to you? Billionaire buys Twitter and tries to change the platform, maybe for the better, or billionaire is forced to buy Twitter after trying to destroy their stock price. And I'll give some background here, some timeline, roughly, right? I couldn't go into all the details without reading them on a page, right? But again, the question before we do a short timeline review, which narrative is more attractive to you? Which one it seems to be that something that you might think is more likely? Billionaire buys Twitter and tries to change the platform for the better, maybe. Or billionaire is forced to buy Twitter after trying to destroy their stock price, o preço de ações. So Elon Musk is a billionaire. He's claiming to want to buy Twitter to make it freer, right? That he's on the kind of, hey, everything should be open and free train, whether or not it's believable or you believe that is for you to decide. But the other side is Elon Musk is not genuinely trying to buy Twitter. He's trying to, like billionaires are commonly known to do, get more money. And the timeline would support that at least, right? We don't know his true intentions, but the timeline roughly is Elon Musk started buying large quantities of Twitter ações or stock. He was supposed to declare that to the regulator, the federal regulator in the United States. He did not. He went on Twitter and started criticizing or criticizing the company and the platform, which lowered the stock price. He bought more and more. Eventually, he did declare. He declared himself as a passive investor, meaning he was not going to interfere with the. Even though his stock was so massive in the company, he was not going to interfere in its operation. Although he was in private talks with the old Twitter CEO, I think his name is Jack Dorsey, being active in the potential future and trying to be on the board of Twitter. Then he declared himself as an active stockholder or possessor or dono de ações. I'm not sure how to say that in Portuguese, somewhere in between those two. And then he decided to declare his intent to buy Twitter. And then there's a lot of other details in the middle, but he was given a period in which to investigate the details of the company. He declined and waived or disregarded that, this is a legal process, right? Imagine you're going to buy a house, and before you buy a house, you have a period where you can check the house out. Hey, let's see if there's anything fucked up in the house that is hiding, or maybe the owner, right? Maybe the house has termites or has some infestation, and the owner doesn't want you to know, but you want to know. You would want to know, so you investigate and you do your due diligence, we say. Elon Musk said, "No, I don't need to do that legally in the legal process of making the purchase." He said that. Then, after that, he decided to publicly say, "Hey, there's a lot of bots on Twitter. Twitter's lying about the number of humans. They're being disingenuous about the platform's content and who uses it." Stock price drops more. Then he changes his mind again, right? This is very confusing, but then he changes his mind again and declares that he would continue to buy the company, and that he would keep his financing in place for the $44 billion deal. And now we're still kind of waiting. Him saying he's going to continue with the purchase doesn't mean that it will happen. Not at all. He definitely he has to keep the financiers on board to do that. He could still back out, but then again, if he tries and backs out, it's possible because Twitter processó ele contraprocessó Twitter. But part of the process and the contract for the purchase is that he could be forced to buy Twitter even if he doesn't want to, because of the terms, the details of the contract initially. So that's kind of what we're waiting for. And again, you're listening to this in the future from when I'm recording this, so maybe you already know. But back to our questions, right? I'm going to read that third question again. Which narrative is more attractive or realistic to you? Billionaire buys Twitter and tries to change the platform for the better, maybe. Or billionaire is forced to buy Twitter after trying to destroy their stock price. Number 4, are you on board with social media companies or platforms banning politicians or anyone from their platform. This is a huge topic, growing in Brazil, but in the U.S. it's a huge political topic and social topic. But platforms, social media companies banning people. Hey, you're out. You said something. You posted something. You're banned or you're suspended, and then you're banned permanently. Right? Donald Trump, possibly the most famous person banned as president. I believe he was still president. I don't remember if he was banned before or after he left office, but he was banned for misinformation. People have been banned in the pandemic for posting misinformation about vaccinations. Right, there's a lot of that flying through the Twitterverse. Obviously, there's other extreme cases of child pornography or criminal behavior or sexism or racism or things like that. So, are you on board with social media companies and platforms banning politicians or anyone from their platform? And our last question, if you were the Twitter boss or any social media boss, when I say boss, I mean the CEO, right? The head decision maker. What is the first change you might make? If you were the Twitter boss or any social media boss, what is the first change you might make? I say first for a reason, because presumably the first thing you would do is the thing that you value the most with respect to social media and the platforms and how they work and what you believe. Most people have some social media. Right? Even WhatsApp is described as social media, although I don't view it like that. So if you were the Twitter boss or any social media boss, what is the first change you might make? Those are the questions. Go ahead and leave your reflections somewhere. Find me, and I'll give you feedback on how you're producing English. The questions, again, there's a bit more on this topic. It's more interesting to me, but this is a topic in Brazil, right? There's not. This is 5 days. I'm recording this 5 days before the presidential election. There's not a lot of social media companies monitoring the content of fake news in Brazil, it seems like, and a lot of the content is being monitored by not really the companies. They're supposed to, I believe, but by a Supreme Court Justice, Alexandre de Moraes. And everyone has an opinion about that, regardless if they understand the election laws for free airtime and dividindo or sharing airtime. So when I say airtime, I mean like on the radio and TV, not social media. So, yeah, maybe you care about this too. Please give me your thoughts, and I will give you feedback on your English production, which is why I'm making these podcasts.